Alright, what's up guys? OJ here, welcome back to another video. And it's interesting to see a lot of the discourse around Metroid Dread on the Nintendo Switch. We've been hearing people loving what Nintendo's been doing. We've been hearing people talk about how Nintendo is spoiling everything. I saw an article on Game Rant that went like a whole manifesto talking about how Nintendo's spoiling stuff. They have a history of spoiling stuff. I've seen videos from big content creators saying this. So we're going to get to the bottom of it, but before we do, make sure you hit that like button and also subscribe if you are someone new and click that notification bell to get my videos first for the voice of logic. Now, let's go ahead and get into this whole thing here with Nintendo and them spoiling, all right, air quotes, yes, air quotes, spoiling Metroid Dread. But it seems to me like people are upset that Nintendo is actually marketing and selling Metroid Dread, because it seems like some people, especially the hardcore fans of Nintendo, cannot separate their own thought process and them buying the game and knowing that it's a must buy from somebody just average Joe Schmo or just a casual gamer or somebody who wasn't raised in the Metroid era or who doesn't know about the game or who needs to see more to be intrigued. Because as someone myself, I've worked in sales and marketing, and there is a distinct line between these two type of customers, and often content creators and people who write for websites, they see it as a okay, must buy, I've already seen enough, we know it's good. But for the majority of people, because this is the reason why Metroid doesn't sell 30 million copies, but for the majority of people, they haven't seen enough to get them to pull the trigger. They're gonna buy that Mario, they're gonna buy that Zelda, they're gonna know with what they're gonna go with. You have to, when it comes to video game sales, you must create intrigue. Nintendo is expertly, in my opinion, this is not just trying to defend Nintendo on this topic or not. I'll call something if I don't like it. I'll definitely make sure that I say something. But as somebody who's worked in sales and marketing, this is expertly selling their game to people who would have never thought about buying a Metroid game. You've seen it. We've all seen it. Go on any of the Metroid Dread videos that Nintendo has when you get past some of the people complaining or crying about being spoiled or whatever the case is. But go and try to look and see how many people are saying, wow, I've never played a Metroid game, or this is going to be my first Metroid game. This trailer looks amazing. I can't believe what they're doing. They need to be intrigued. They need to see something that's going to spark them, spark their brain as a non-core fan of Metroid to say, okay, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to buy this game. This game looks incredible. This game looks really good. I'm going to go out there and buy it. And too often you see a lot of content creators, not everybody, but you see people that write in the publications and content creators and people that are just hardcore fans, and they know the goods, the awesomeness that Metroid brings. They say, oh, well, it's spoiling. Whereas you've got a bunch of other people that weren't sold by the first trailer or by the treehouse footage or whatever the case is. Case in point, how many people did you see, wrongly be it that, but how many people did you see say Metroid Dread isn't worth $60? Based on what Nintendo showed. There was a clash for sure where the core fans were saying, what are you talking about? But there was a number of people saying that, and also people that were kind of in the middle, like, well, it's a 2D game, I'm not really sure, I think I'm intrigued. But then when Nintendo dropped that most recent trailer that they had, the Metroid Dread Glimpse of Dread Trailer 2, where they actually showed more intrigue with the story. Metroid is a gameplay heavy game. You need to experience it. It's not a heavy hardcore story base. It's not like Detroit or Heavy Rain or some of these other hardcore story simulators or anything like that. I don't even think that there's going to be like tons of story sequences and setups in Metroid Dread. I think it's going to be 90% or 85% gameplay to the rest story or cutscenes. But at the same time, you still need to get those people. You still need to make sure that those people are intrigued enough to get into that story. So for the gray area people and for the people who aren't convinced, these trailers are needed. Heck, we've seen it multiple times. I've seen some articles say that nobody else does this with spoiling their games, and Nintendo has a history, and it almost seems like this person or these people don't look at what other trailers and then beat the games that are in said trailer. Bravely Default 2 has stuff from what definitely you can consider, I guess, spoiler, right? When it comes to certain scenes late in the game in that. Final Fantasy VII Remake has the same thing, and there has been many other trailers that I've watched after I beat the game. I was like, oh, that was from the final boss, or oh, that was from that. But what did it do, for me at least? It created that intrigue. It created that interest. It is expertly marketing and selling your game. Heck, we saw what happened with Monster Hunter Stories 2, for example. That game was shown over and over and over and over. I think I counted somewhere between 6 to 7 trailers beforehand and at least 3 presentations before, with multiple things in the beginning game, in the middle game, not really a lot of end game stuff at least, but I'm not at the very end of the game, but they did show quite a bit to create that intrigue. And then what do you see? I think less than 2 weeks in, 1 million copies sold because they got enough people to get interested in the game. You must do this in order in 2021 to sell your game. Maybe back in the day you didn't have to do that, or whatever the case is, but Metroid's never been a massive seller. Metroid's never been a game that's gonna go out there and light it up like a Mario or Zelda or a Pokemon or a new age Splatoon or anything like that. So you must show that intrigue. You just can't show Samus running around in 2D and a boss fight and people are just gonna be like, all right, well, I mean, it's the same old Metroid that we've seen, been there, done that, and I haven't really done that before in the past, so why do I need to do that now? Now, here's the thing that I'll say. This will be like the last thing that I kind of go on with this. Some of these people, all right, and some of the things that I see will be the same people. If Metroid Dread doesn't sell well, just like previous ones, they'll be complaining and crying and sitting here and saying that, why didn't Nintendo talk about this more? Why didn't Nintendo push Metroid more? Why aren't people buying Metroid? So the same people that I've seen for years sit back and say Nintendo needs to do Metroid and scream and yell and kick and say all this stuff and people need to buy it. Now that Nintendo's actually doing a great job of marketing a game, of marketing this game, now it's, oh, now you're showing too much. Oh, they're spoiling everything for everybody. Oh, this and that. Meanwhile, pre-orders are up, sales are going to be up. GameStop across the board, Amazon across the board, sales are all up. So this is only getting people more interested in the game for the long-term future of it. That's how you know that your marketing is working. Once again, you can't just show trailers of Samus just running around in 2D. You must create that intrigue. You must create that, oh wow, here is an imposing foe. Here is something that happens. What happens? I need to play that. I need to experience it. And that's what Metroid has always been about. Metroid has always been about that experience and going through. You might see something in a game or whatever the case is. Final Fantasy VII Remake is the same way. They showed scenes from the final boss or near the final boss with Sephiroth and what was going on there. They showed other types of things, but how does it all come together? How does it piece together? Is it going to be a memorable experience marred with great gameplay, great set pieces, great writing, great story, great everything that puts everything together and creates that experience? It doesn't spoil anything because it's out of context. You don't know everything, but it creates that fishing line, that little draw, that little feed of intrigue for many people out there. So just sit back, let them market the game, and let's get this thing. Let's sell this thing so we can actually get future Metroids and games consistently. Because if they don't push it out like this, if they don't talk about it like this, if they don't show what's going to make this game hype, what's going to make this game good, it's going to end up just like a lot of the previous Metroid games, barely selling that much and being spaced out because people just aren't buying it as much. Metroid Dread has a chance to be the best-selling Metroid game of all time. Metroid Dread has a chance to really get in the hands of many other people out there. The marketing is working. Let them continue to do it. And if you don't like it, just don't watch the trailers. If you're already sold, don't watch the trailers, but don't get upset because they are doing a great job at marketing the game so we can get more of these. Because like I said, some of these people are the first ones to complain that Nintendo doesn't talk about this game enough, or they don't make Metroid enough, or they're not doing this or that. Let them sell the game, and like I said, let's get it past that 3 million. Let's go out there and make sure that this game does amazing by telling people, yo, check this out. This is the reason why you want to get this. I get it, guys. I completely understand when it comes to some people and you don't want to see anything like, I can understand that. But you need to understand also that this game needs to continue. The franchise needs to continue because it's not Mario and Zelda, and people need to see why they're going to plop down that $60 and their hard-earned cash for this game. But that's just my thoughts on the matter. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you hit that like button if you didn't already do so. Once again, subscribe if you're not, and check out the link in the description below if you want to become a channel member. It really does help out the channel and get some cool perks and benefits. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.